My fellow commanders, part 2 of the Persona event is live and Yukiko's banner along with it. So it's time to see where she'll be used, how to build her, and most importantly, if she's Pog or not. If you want a full breakdown of her kit, you can check out my previous video and I'll have that in the cards for you right now. Let's start with an overview. Yukiko is a burst 3 attacker that wields a machine gun, and she is a fire code unit. Her kit is very similar to Makoto's. It mostly consists of high amounts of self buffs to attack damage, and elemental damage. These buffs are further enhanced when she uses her burst skill, in addition to dealing some distributed damage that will be increased by yet another buff. Yukiko provides a high amount of attack to Makoto via Caster's attack buff when Yukiko uses her burst skill, and much like Makoto, Yukiko primarily deals damage through weapon attacks, with a bit of distributed damage that triggers when bursting. The key difference between Makoto and Yukiko is her ability to heal the entire team consistently. This is a heal that happens every 3 seconds with no other trigger condition. It is further enhanced during full burst when she uses her burst skill. It may not seem like much, but when you're trying to maximize damage in your team compositions, it can be difficult to squeeze in any amount of sustain. So where are we likely to use Yukiko? I think many players will be able to get a lot of use out of her in campaign, tribe tower, bossing, and solo raid. Let's start with campaign. Realistically, I can see Yukiko being used in mid to even high deficit campaign for a couple of reasons. The first reason is that there are not a lot of fire DPS to choose from for campaign. Rappy Red Hood and Tactical Vesti are the two choices that immediately come to mind, and after that, the choices get a lot less appealing. So if you don't have either of those units, then Yukiko becomes an enticing choice. The second reason is that the healing will be invaluable if you're using Crown, or if you need a bit of sustain to survive something like a Bronchus or constant damage in deficits that don't outright kill you. For campaign and tribe tower bosses, you're going to use the absolute strongest units you have available, which may not leave room for Yukiko if you already have them, but she will still be a very strong choice until then. Solo raid is a different story. While Fire definitely has some very strong units, the selection is very limited at this time. Yukiko will definitely have a place in the meta for Fire Week raids, even without Makoto. But together, they will be at their absolute best. Yukiko offers high single target damage, and the healing should be just enough to keep your team alive without the need for a dedicated healer. For neutral element solo raid, I can still see Yukiko making an appearance for players that don't have all 5 teams optimized. Even though a good portion of her kit is focused on fighting enemies weak to fire, her high attack and attack damage self buffs will allow her to do enough damage to be considered, but also the healing she provides will make her an attractive choice when it is needed. Let's take a look at how to build Yukiko. I would recommend 10-10-7 for her skills, but 7-7-7 is an acceptable and more budget-friendly option. Her skill 1 has more value than skill 2 for neutral content and whenever she's not paired with Makoto. Skill 2 will be more important for Fire Week content and when she is paired with Makoto. So take those two factors into consideration when investing into her skills. For overload lines, it'll be the standard 4x elemental and 4x attack. Yukiko's best team for solo raid will have the maids, so ammo will not be an issue when accounting for their reload speed buffs in combination with a resilience cube. If you're planning to use Yukiko in other teams, then consider rolling for 10 lines, with 2 of those being max ammo. Or you could also just replace a couple of attack lines for ammo if you'd like a more budget-friendly option. Crit lines are just filler. Cube choice will be between Resilience or Bastion. Use Resilience in combination with reload speed buffers, and use Bastion when you're not using reload speed buffers. Always use your highest cube when you can take advantage of the bonus elemental damage. Yukiko is a worthy choice for an SR15 doll due to her high attack buffs, but SR5 is a much more reasonable investment that takes a fraction of the resources. If you're using her just for solo raid, then SR5 is fine, but if you plan to use her in content where deficit matters, then consider going higher. Now let's look at a couple of team compositions. The first team is most likely to be her best solo raid team. The lineup consists of Maid Mast, Siren, Makoto, Yukiko, and Maid Anchor. The two persona units will enhance each other's kits with plenty of extra attack and distributed damage. Yukiko and Maid Anchor will provide a constant source of sustain that should compensate for any damage your team suffers. The Maid duo will give all the buffs that both persona units benefit the most from, which includes but is not limited to tons of reload speed and crit. And Siren will provide the necessary burst generation, CDR, and a substantial amount of damage when grouped with two machine gun units. For the second team, I have something specifically for anomaly interception in Devilia. The lineup is Crown, Star Anise, Rappy Red Hood, Yukiko, and a flex spot. I think the best choices for the flex spot are going to be Treasure Flora, Maid Mast, or Treasure Privity. So one big issue that Indivilia presents is the constant damage that your highest attack NIKKE has to tank. In this case, it will probably be Rappy Red Hood. Crown's shield and taunt helps a lot, but the team still requires some healing on top of that. Treasure Helm is usually an option, but she's a utility pick for this team and won't provide nearly as much damage as another fire unit. This is where Yukiko comes into play. She'll do much more damage than Treasure Helm, and her healing in combination with Crown's shielding and taunting will be enough to keep Rappy alive. So for the verdict, I'm going to change it up a bit from now on. I'll have a recommendation for campaign, tower, and bossing, as well as a recommendation for new players. For campaign, I consider performance at a mid to high deficit, which I would say starts at around 30% and goes up to 45%. The reason I picked this range specifically is because anything under that is easy enough for even very unoptimized team compositions to clear, and anything above that requires incredibly niche team setups to even have a chance of clearing the stages. So for campaign, I would not recommend Yukiko. She lacks adequate tools for mobbing, and while her healing is a nice bonus, it will really just be enough to trigger Crown Skill 2 and possibly keep your team just healthy enough to survive stages with Bronchus. There's just much better units for this type of content. For bossing, I consider campaign/tower stages in addition to solo raid. I would recommend Yukiko for bossing and solo raid. She will excel in Fire Week content where she can dish out plenty of single target damage. While her healing is not sufficient for something like campaign, consistently low to moderate damage to the team is commonplace in bossing. So Yukiko's healing has much more utility here. I don't think that you need Makoto for Yukiko to perform well, but if you are pulling for Yukiko, then I would heavily recommend pulling for Makoto as well. If you're a new player that has been playing the game for less than a year, I would not recommend Yukiko or Makoto for that matter. Yukiko excels at bossing, but you'll have a lot to catch up on before you should consider investing heavily into either persona units. On my nearly 2-month-old free-to-play account, I am personally skipping both of these units. Save your pulls for units that have much more viability across several forms of content, and especially save enough for the 4th anniversary that will be coming up in less than 3 months now. Anyways, guys, please like and subscribe if you enjoy my content. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye!